Hey, eavesdroppers, welcome back to our circle. We're your queen bees. I'm Kim.
I'm Beverly.
And you're listening to Without a Clique podcast. It's Girl Talk, episode 3. And if you're new here, welcome. We have 2 other series. One is an archetype series, which you guys are eating up on TikTok right now. So thank you. And our other series is Read the Room. It comes out every Saturday. So you get 2 of us 3 times a week. So if you haven't already, follow us on TikTok and subscribe to our YouTube channel down below. Also, if you don't want to wait week to week for all these episodes and you would like to enjoy them ad-free, then you can subscribe to our Patreon, where you also get exclusive bonus content that's literally exclusive to you. Nobody else has access to it. So this week on Girl Talk, we're going to talk about pretty privilege. It's a topic that gets brought up a lot, but we've been seeing it talked about a little bit more frequently on social media. So we just wanted to chit chat about it a little bit. What's the first thing that comes to your mind, Twin, whenever you hear the words pretty privilege?
So when I think of pretty privilege, I think about stuff like in the classrooms when we were younger, how the pretty girls would get away with a lot of stuff and they got specialty treatment, or like at work, pretty girls, they get to choose their schedule more, or they get treated better by customers and coworkers. That's what comes to mind for me when I think of pretty privilege. I feel like usually in society, when women kind of like start understanding, oh, okay, if you look a certain way, you get treated better. And some women accept that and they learn to love themselves. And some women are like, no, you know what? I'm going to get surgery and I want that treatment too, which I don't think either are a bad thing, but that's just observations that I've made on pretty privilege. I don't have strong feelings about it, if I'm being completely honest. Mm-hmm. What experiences have you had with pretty privilege in your life? Have you ever had pretty privilege before? Because let me tell y'all, when we was in high school, the boys used to be all over Twin. We would go on vacation together. They would be all over her, asking for her numbers. Do you remember that? Everywhere we went, they'd be like, hey, you.
Honestly, I didn't until you just brought it up. That reminds me of that one spring break that we took down to Florida, and we were walking the strip. There was like a bunch of guys in the back of the truck, and he was like, let me put some vanilla in your chocolate. Y'all are wild.
He really said that with his chest.
Yes. Honestly, I think I might be naive to it because I don't feel like it happens to me. I have been told that it does happen to me. I don't think it happens to me as much as it happens to like other pretty girls. Or maybe it does, and I'm just like super gullible and I brush it off. But I've never went to a bar and people like paid my tab, or like went to a restaurant and someone paid like my bill. I wish they would. Jeez.
Wait, do you remember we went to Atlanta and that guy came and sat next to us and just bought all of our drinks?
Actually, that's very true. See, I brush it off or I forget about it.
Or even recently, you remember when you were staying with me and we went to the gas station and the way that guy was treating you? That old man.
Was it
It happens to Kim a lot.
Was it the one that stopped to give us quarters to put air in our tire?
No, but there's another one.
I guess it does happen more than I think. I don't know. I don't view myself as a pretty standard, so I really don't even consider that happens to me. Wow. Am I privileged?
Do I have privilege?
Do I have what privilege? Now I know what white people mean when they're like, what white privilege? Like,
so do you have any other that you can actually remember and recall experiences with pretty privilege in any way, whether receiving it or seeing other people receive it?
I feel like it has landed me a job before, which I don't like because I'm someone that my work ethic speaks for me. and I don't like to get anything else or anything in that manner on a different accord. I definitely feel like if I knew I had it, I would use it to my advantage. But I don't even rely on my looks to get me places. I rely on like my mentality. But that makes me think about women that do rely on their looks and stuff to get them into rooms.
It's very interesting.
Very interesting.
Back to what you said about your job, which this brings me to another topic that we're going to talk about. But how do you feel about people who, like you said, realize they have privilege and use it to their advantage?
I say more power to them. No, I'm just joking. I think it depends on how you use it. If you're just using it for the benefit of yourself, I mean, all glory to you. You should use everything that is at your fingers to uplift and elevate yourself. I feel like if you use it to put others down or anything like that, I think that's where it just like takes a turn. And I think it also just depends on what pretty is to you. I think that us as society have put like a limitation on what pretty is, but I may not be pretty to someone else, but may like be beautiful to other people, you know, and vice versa. I think that when you just know what you have and use it to your advantage and just that, it could be beneficial.
Yeah. I love when people use their pretty privilege to get ahead of life. I don't know why. That has never upset me unless, no, I've never had a problem with anyone using it, just because often in the world that we're in, if we're being completely, let's be honest, beauty standards are kind of based on like white Western standards. So I feel like, especially if you're a person of color, maybe like relaxing your hair, you know, dressing a certain way, doing certain things to appeal to white males who are in those positions of power. I don't view that as a negative thing. I just view that as you doing whatever it takes to achieve the things you want to achieve, which is, it may be problematic, but I don't see it as being a problem. I do think the issue, like I do think the fact that pretty privilege is a thing is an issue, because it kind of takes away, first of all, if you're pretty, you're always going to feel like, dang, like no one even cares about this project I just did, or no one cares about this thing I just wrote, or my character, they only see me at. Like that's so messed up to reduce someone to what they look like, whether they're pretty or not. And then on the other side, it's like, dang, like just because I'm not pretty, what I do it's not important. You know, I just saved a life, but I'm not pretty, so no one's going to put me on the news. Like it's that kind of thing.
No, but it makes sense. And I truly love your honesty, because it helps me to look at things like in different perspective. I don't think that pretty privilege should be a wrong. You know what that makes me think of? Because we were talking about work, and I know we talk about Kim a lot, but like when she was in her early years, and you could see it a lot if you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she used her pretty privilege to get her into rooms when she wasn't well known like that at first. I think that she really mastered knowing how to look and what looks would get her into the career and the hands of the things that she wanted. And I think that that's powerful. To me, that's admirable. Like,
I think it's an ability to look at the world as it is and navigate through it from that plane of existence, which I personally believe you can be on this plane, see the world how it is, and navigate through it while also realizing everything that's wrong with it and also wanting to change that and fix that. That's just my personal beliefs. I know a lot of people aren't going to believe that, but I truly believe that you can do that. I think that a lot of us do it every day and we don't even realize it. Like we don't like working minimum wage, but you do it and you know it's wrong and you know that you want to change it, but you realize this is reality, this is what I got to do.
And it's what I have to do to get by at the moment. Yeah. I think that Kim K was totally embodying her siren archetype in her early year, for sure.
No, she definitely was. And if you think about, who are some other sirens?
I would consider Megan Fox.
Oh, so you have two sides of it. You have Megan Fox, who was vilified for her pretty privilege, for her siren archetype, and then you have Kim K, who was also vilified for it, but she kind of turned that and used that to her advantage.
She did.
Which brings us to like how you can use your feminine archetypes to land those jobs, to navigate those spaces. Because we talk about them, we tell you the qualities, but how can you put that into use day to day for stuff that really matters?
When I think about it, and especially since we're talking about Kim, because I never followed Megan long enough to see if she stepped into a different one. Like we said earlier, Kim used hers to get her to the room and in a room. But when you have a developed siren archetype, you know that your prettiness will get you to the room. It won't keep you in the room. And I think I think that's when she learned to step into her boss and queen archetype, because you can have a pretty face and it can get you a campaign, but what's going to make it reoccurring? You know what I mean? She has the intellect to go with her pretty, and that's what allows her to land the job and keep it, and then keep getting business deals.
Yeah. And piggybacking off what you just said, like, yeah, your face may land you the campaign, but it's your work ethic and your relationships behind the scenes that's going to get you booked again.
For sure.
I feel like another good example of this is Rihanna. When she was signed to a music company, they tried to put her in the basement, which, if you don't know what that means, that's when a company signs you and you're contractually obligated to drop music with them for how many albums you signed for, but they don't support you or your music, and so you kind of get left in the basement and you're stuck in this limbo where you can't release music with other companies because you're still signed to them, but also your company's not releasing your music, so you're stuck with them. They tried to do that to Rihanna early in her career, and she took matters to her own hands and funded her own video, which you said was Disturbia, right?
Yes, it was Disturbia.
Which archetype was she in, do you think?
I would think Maiden, because she was super, if you look at the aspects of that, like her funding her own music video, that's kind of like a rebellious standpoint, and not in like a bad way. It's just rebellious against her label. And they even didn't want to release that because they said it was too edgy. But y'all know Disturbia got released, so she won that fight.
And it was a hit.
It was such a hit. Yes.
It was a huge hit. And she used that maiden energy, that rebellious kind of like teenage bad girl archetype, and it catapulted her brand and her career. And she could have just stayed making music, but eventually she realized there's not really money in music. And so she can't act like that in a boardroom. You can't act like that to make those kinds of deals. So she had to step into her, I would say Huntress archetype.
I was also thinking Huntress, because she's in a lane of her own in her mind. Like she's in competition with no one but herself. And I think she still kind of embodies the maiden archetype a little bit. Like that clip of when she's like arriving late to the fashion show and someone's like, "You're late." She's like, "No shit." Like, yeah. But I love that because she's true to herself.
Because if you've taken the test, you know that we're made up of percentages, because we're not just when we step into these things from different time periods of our life. So that maiden archetype, she didn't just put it on the shelf and it went to 0%. It's still there. She just used something else that was already in her.
Yes, right. And she knows the right times to bring it up too. That's what makes you powerful, when you can embody them all and you know when to grab it off the shelf.
So my highest percentage is the maiden archetype. What if I, what if I wanted to apply for a social media manager position at like, I don't know, Instagram or something? What are some things you think I could do with my archetype to get me into the door, to get me that interview, to get me noticed?
Well, with Instagram, and this might sound a little weird, but even though they've been around for a minute, I feel like they're still growing. And I feel like you embodying like youthful traits, and that's what the maiden is, that could bring like a fresh pair of eyes to like their strategy, their media strategy, their social strategy, especially with all the other apps competing. Sometimes they need that like fresh young look to like catapult them back into the position that they were. I feel like a maiden could be really good at doing that. Because not to say like you have a lack of intellectualness. Is that a word? It's a word now.
It's now.
But when you kind of exhibit that carefree spirit, it allows you to not put limitations on your mentality of where you think like a brand could go. And sometimes people won't be willing to take a risk because they're too closed off. I feel like the maiden would be really good at breaking those walls down.
Yeah. So what she's basically saying is, if we're going with a scenario, I want to, in some capacity, be like a social media manager for Instagram. And she's saying that on Instagram, to get noticed, I should embrace those maiden qualities. Maybe put out work or make comments that grab attention, and then that may get me through the door, but I would step into another archetype behind the scenes, like the boss. Is that archetype?
It is. That's the sage archetype.
That's the sage?
That's mine.
So I would step into my sage archetype when it's time to sign contracts, when it's time to talk money. And then when I actually start posting for them, I would step back into that maiden archetype. Do you see how you kind of have to play with the archetypes? Yeah. That's why I think it's important to learn about all of them, because they all make up parts of us, whether you've stepped into them yet or not. It's there inside of you.
It is. And if you pay attention to just like the things that happen today, you'll see them. Like we were just talking about Rihanna. Think about how she was rebellious in the way she started dressing when she was pregnant. No one else was willing to do that, but she did it, and she made it a brand and a trend in its own. But she's still in her board meetings for Fenty and Savage. Like she's still doing the things that she needs to do. She doesn't let the maiden control her, but it is a side of her that she uses to advance her career.
Exactly. Ooh, I want to do another example. Let's do something. Okay, I'm a law student and I want to get a summer internship. And let's say I'm the mystic archetype. So the qualities of the mystic, they're introverted, they're really focused on their inner zen, and they wear their emotions on their sleeves. So they're just like a few, so you get the feel their energy if you don't know what the mystic archetype is about. So I embody this mystic energy. And let's say in law school, I make fantastic grades, but social-wise, because I'm so introverted and I'm so different from everyone else, I never really made those connections. What would I do to land that summer internship at this big company? Let's say Saks Mangold? I don't know. I was thinking Saks Fifth Avenue.
Not you put me on the spot. Let me think about this. If you wanted to be, or like start off being like a paralegal or something like that, you could totally do that and embody still your mystic characteristics, because attorneys they like someone who is smart and who can get their work done, but they don't like someone to tell them something that they think they're already good at, if that makes sense. And if you're an introvert and you're socially awkward, you probably wouldn't have the boldness to be like, like what you're doing is wrong, or you need to change this or whatever. That doesn't mean that you can't excel at your work. That just means that you're okay falling in the background and producing excellently without having to be like at the front of the show. And I think that might also work well for you because lawyers are so busy, they don't always have the time to pat you on your back. And so if they know that you can produce very well, but they don't have to say, thank you for this proposal, thank you for this memorandum, thank you for this contract, and know that you're still like content within yourself because you don't find peace and acceptance through outward expressions. I feel like that would be, if I was a lawyer, that's someone that I would look for. Like, not that because you wouldn't take it personally. Like, you would just understand the circumstances as they are.
So that's how you would use your mystic archetype to get through the door. You would use that introvertedness to work hard, get the grades, have the information, do your research on the company. If knowing the mystics, probably like super extensive research obsessively, you nail the interview just because of your knowledge and because they can see that even though you may not have those social skills, you are still, know your stuff and you're going to be a hard worker. Now, once you get the internship, what archetype would you step into to go beyond just, I'm working here to a summer, for them to be like, oh, we need to hire her when she graduates? What archetype would you step into, taking in just, the way society is and everything? What do you think would be a good archetype to step in? It could be more than one too. There are other options. There are more than one options.
I would say the lover and the sage. And I say the lover because the other side of the lover that's not sexual is like the love of creation and procreation. So if you're passionate about your work, you're automatically going to do a good job. And that's where like careers and just like different things that are branded to you or important to you are birthed, because anything that you do well, you're going to love to do it.
Stepping into the lover archetype as a mystic would probably be extremely difficult, but I do think it would be very beneficial. Because when you step into the lover archetype, you are the center of attention. That means maybe I'm not saying you gotta have the girls out, but maybe like, let them have a little trailer. Let them have a sneak peek of the girls.
Not a trailer. But it is, I do agree with you. I think it might be difficult, but I think that's where you embodying your mystic and knowing where your peace comes from, and that's your inner self. I think that would allow you to overpower it. So that's a really good point, actually, of how like you might have two, but they work against each other. You just have to know which one is more dominant and then use those traits to overpower whatever it is that you lack in the other.
Fantastic. That kind of goes back into pretty privilege though. Like if you're an introvert, like the mystic, and you want to use the lover archetype to get ahead in work, you would lean into, okay, you know what? Well, before the internship starts, I'm going to work out all summer. I'm going to get my hair laid, slayed, and prayed. I'm getting laser. I'm going to get the best clothes because I need this. And I think that goes back into, you can't just rely on your looks, because she could step into a lover archetype or a siren archetype and use that to get ahead, but she's still the mystic and she's still putting in that work ethic.
Exactly.
Speaking of summer internships, what kind of summer are we having? Are we doing hot girl summer or prep girl summer? Because I need to know.
I think prep girl summer is a hot girl summer. You just have to have the mentality to look at it like that. I think that normally for the summer, like I want to take off and like relax and just like, but for some reason this year, I know what the reasons are. I just can't
say
it. Yeah. Twin nose. I'm really motivated to meet my goals. And I think that summer would be a great time to prep, to be able to walk into like the fall and winter and like be able to accomplish my goals, because school's not really going on for me in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's time for me to like focus on myself. And I don't like to be hot anyway. So I'm about to be outdoors. Like I might go to the beach or something, but I don't like to go out and be out in the summer like I feel like the mass majority do. So if I'm going to be inside, might as well use that to my advantage.
Yeah, I like that. Using the summer to prep so that maybe next summer you can be out and be a hot girl.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I think it's, don't judge me, but I love summers, especially when you're in school, because it's a time to get ahead while everyone else is out having fun. Mm-hmm. So like, it's like those people who take extra classes during the summer, or they study for their next semester's courses during the summer, or even if you want to take it to like a physical level, the people who work out and like they stay inside and really grind, and then they come back in the fall and everyone's like, who is that? I think summer is a really fun time to do that because no one expects it. I think everyone expects you to prep in the spring.
Yes, in the spring, or like in the winter because New Year's is coming. And it's like, you got like 5 months for your summer body.
Yep.
Yeah.
So eavesdroppers, I want to know, like, what are y'all doing this summer? Are you going to have a hot girl summer? Like, did you work hard in the spring and fall and you ready to just let loose and be on the beach with your cheeks out? Or are you going to like kind of stay inside a little bit and really grind and work and prep in any sort of way? I want to know because I might steal some tips from y'all. I'm gonna be honest.
I also want to know, and especially for like the girls that don't like to be hot, because I hate summer. What do you guys do? Like, I don't want to be in the house all the time, but anything over 72 degrees to me is boiling hot and you won't catch me.
I love being hot. Summer is my favorite time of the year.
It is. And winter is mine and she hates it.
I hate being cold. It hurts to be cold.
She does.
Well,
you
ain't got to go home, but the summer party's over, so you need to get the hello out of here. I guess that is it, eavesdroppers. Thank you guys for all the love on TikTok. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go follow us on TikTok. Okay, we're having a blast over there.
We are.
If you
so much fun.
And like, yeah, so much fun. But follow us on Twitter. Subscribe. Twitter. We don't have a Twitter. Sorry, Elon Musk just bought Twitter, so that's been on my mind lately. Follow us on TikTok. We're having a blast over there. We're gonna start going live once a week. Just having a chat. You can subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos. We have 2 other series that we do. We have our research series, and right now we're doing the feminine archetypes, and we also have a Read the Room, which is a bit messy. A little messy, it's a little fun. So if you think that's interesting, give us a like, give us a subscribe, check out our other series. And if you want more of us, like if you just can't get enough, head on over to Patreon. We got some goods for you over there.
Well, over and out.
Over and out.